Welcome back, everybody. This is Brothermutant here. Today we're going to continue on our quest to play Baldur's Gate 3 Early Access. Now, we have just got to level 4. Let's go down and fight some spider biatches. But we're not done in the area either, so we want to definitely level up so we can get every bit of buff we can get to our characters right goddamn now. So let's see what we have starting in reverse order, of course. There's nothing more to continue. Found some really good videos online today. Some people just showing some killer moves. Specifically, this area there is a very nasty boss fight that one person took out with one character, which is just amazing. And of course, it was a level 4 character and buffed to the tits, but it doesn't matter. It was impressive as hell, and kudos to you, and I'm sure I'm saying your name wrong. I want to say it was Sente, and they don't talk to the video, so maybe you'll appreciate their videos more than mine. They don't have many, but they have some really good information in them. For instance, they were using something that was a particularly interesting trick, and I do want to show it to you. So first, let's actually do that trick. You can see that we have a variety of things that we've accumulated over the days in this game. Not surprising that we got a shit ton of stuff. Notice one of the things is a candle. So literally, we can literally drop that item. You can actually see that the candle here is now on the ground. By the way, you guys. But if you come over to it, just like any other torch or anything in the game.
Well met.
Get out the way. Fat ass. Yeah. You can actually click on it and light it on fire. Why does this matter? Well, one, you just made light in your surrounding area. Two, you also have now something that you can dip your weapon in. Remember, we have this ability here. You dip it into poison, you dip it into acid, you can dip it into fire, probably even water. I don't know if that matters. But the point is you have a variety of things that you can dip it into, and this is one of the things. So again, pretty damn shui. I thought that was a nice little trick. I wanted to make sure to show you guys that. But let's actually level these guys up, okay? So first we have our, see, this is our rogue. Now this is level 4, the last level we'll be able to get in early access. So this is kind of important that you grab what you want. Notice we have a swap feature here, which we'll talk about that here in a moment. But notice the game automatically assumes that you want to take 2 points instead of a feat and do an ability improvement, which means you can either increase one ability 2 points, or 2 abilities 1 point, maximum of 20 for any ability. So what they've done is they've buffed his dexterity up to 18, as you can see, as well as his intelligence from 9 to 10. Now that just means he's not at a penalty for any of his intelligence-based checks, which is something. It's not the worst idea ever. The dexterity is the real selling point here. I mean, that's more armor, better initiative, probably a better attack rolls for most, if not all, of his attacks. So certainly you can see the appeal here. But it occurs to me that with swap feat, you might be able to get something similar to this without maybe the intelligence bump, but something besides. So let's swap feats and see what we have to offer. So notice we have, for example, we could do an athlete where you get an increase to strength or dex by 1 point. Maximum of 20 again. And when you are prone, so someone slips and slides or knocks you on your ass, standing up uses less movement, which is apparently how you stand up in this game. Notice defensive duelist. This is the one that I particularly like for him. When you are attacked with a melee attack, you use your reaction to increase your armor class, potentially causing the attack to miss. You can see the appeal of something like this, right? How about dual wielder, which is, I'm sure, what most people go for this particular character. +1 armor class while wielding a melee weapon in each hand. You can use 2 weapons fighting, even if your weapons aren't light. So I'm assuming up until this point, you could, if you had a light weapon and light weapon, dual wielding was a thing. You just had access to it. So now we can just switch off to whatever the hell we want, and suddenly that axe that we have is pretty appealing. And again, I appreciate the extra armor class. Great weapon master, obviously not for him, but just to read it to you, when a melee attack scores a critical hit or kills a creature, you can make another melee attack as a bonus action. Notice this fun part here. When attacking with heavy weapons you are proficient with, attack rolls take a -5 penalty. That's a big penalty. But their damage increases by 10. So this is basically power attack. Those of you that are familiar with, say, pen and paper, Pathfinder examples. Notice that he doesn't have access to heavily armored. That's locked behind something specific. I'm assuming that he needs, medium armor proficiency first. Lightly armored. Let's actually click off that one. Gain proficiency with light armor. Increase your strength or dexterity by 1 to a maximum of 20. And again, that's something we can do for him. But I think he actually has light armor proficiency, so I don't know why this is showing up, other than the fact that, again, you really have that bonus to dexterity. My favorite, we'll talk about these three here in a minute, but notice Martial Adept is here. Learn 2 maneuvers from the Battle Master archetype and receive 1 additional superiority die to fuel them. Now, and again, the additional means that if you already had 4, 5, 1, whatever from something else, which again, our Battle Master has like 5 of these damn things, you can get another one. That's why the additional. But it then unlocks all kinds of stuff here. You regain expended superiority dice after a short or long rest. Very powerful. Those are, for those of you that don't know what those moves are, a variety of those moves. Well, here, let's just show it to you. Menacing Attack, do solid damage, and then you frighten the target. Pushing Attack, where you literally do solid damage, and again, you shove the target away while you do that. Rally, which is a way for you to like give HP to various characters on the team, which is kind of nice. Riposte, let's see, retaliate. When the creature misses you in melee attack, you retaliate by spending a superiority die and do damage. Now, I'm not sure how riposte actually works. I'm assuming it's a toggle for your reaction attack, because that's really what we're talking about here. So you'd have to have that toggle running. So if you don't want to burn up all your damn superiority dice, then you shut that toggle off, is my advice to you. Because every time they miss you, then you'll suddenly riposte. So again, decent choices. Other than that, though, notice we have mobile. Your speed increases when you use the dash action. Difficult terrain doesn't slow you down. Didn't even notice that was a thing. Moreover, if you move after making a melee attack, you don't provoke an attack of opportunity from your target. Now, that's money. That's an amazing screw you to the bad guy, especially for someone like a rogue. You can see the appeal of this one. Moderately armored. You have proficiency with medium armor and shields, and your strength and dexterity increases by 1. Again, this would be the one that I'd grab for him if I was going that route. And again, that would allow me to wear a specific type of medium armor, obviously. So we put on like scale mail or something like that. Shield Master, interesting one here. +2 bonus to dexterity saving throws when wielding a shield. If a spell forces you to make a dexterity saving throw, you can use your reaction to shield yourself. Awesome. I'm assuming again another toggle. Shield Master block is probably what that is. Yeah. Let's see. If a spell, on a successful save, you take no damage. Again, not bad for someone that's going to sword and board. This is a solid turtle up move. Skilled, basically a skill in one more thing, or actually it's like 3 more things. Holy shit, this would be an amazing upgrade for someone that's a big old smarty pants that already has a lot of stuff they've already invested in. So you can see the appeal of this one. We already have acrobatics, deception, history, perception, persuasion, sleight of hand, and stealth on this character. Being a rogue, he gets all kinds of goodies. But we could add stuff like insight or animal handling or nature or medicine. You get the appeal here. From there, tough, kind of a generic one, but generic for a good reason. Basically, hit points increase 2 times your levels. So we're level 4, so it would be 8 more HP added to your character. And while that doesn't sound like that big of a deal, remember that character right now is swinging at a 27. This would jump him up to a 35. You can see the appeal here. And of course, Weapon Master. Increase your strength or dex by 1 to a maximum of 20 again. Gain proficiency in 4 weapons of your choice. So again, look at the choices. This gives you basically everything that they have currently in the game, guys. So Battle Axe, Club, Dagger. And again, what does proficiency do? You add your proficiency bonus to attack rolls. And again, our proficiency bonus is probably like a +2, +3, +4, something like that right now. So again, if you're not proficient in a weapon, this is where I had a problem the other day. If you're not proficient in a weapon, you can still wield it. Doesn't mean that you can't wield it. You're just not going to get a bonus to it. That's cool, and that's very good information. So for people that are equipping stuff, you're like, well, I can equip it, so it clearly means I can use it. The game must be glitched. No, it's not. It means that you literally are rolling without your proficiency bonus, and that's probably why you're whiffing left and right. You can see the problem here. So again, get yourself some goddamn passives here. Now again, the question is what to be proficient in. For him, I'm looking at things like rapier, short sword, daggers, stuff of this nature. Your light weapons that he's going to be dual wielding, probably later in the build, maybe. But you can see the appeal. Now let's back up to the 3 that I passed on. Notice we have Magic Initiate for either Cleric, Warlock, or Wizard. This is powerful. Let's actually unlock the Wizard one first, just to show you what we're talking about. All this is going to give you is for a character that can't cast spells, and for a character that can, for that matter, it'll give you another spell slot for level 1. So if you already had 2, now you got 3. If you had 3, you have 4. If you have 0, like him, you have now 1 level 1 spell slot. That's not that impressive, I'll grant you. But again, that's what Magic Initiate does. Okay, notice that it gives you access, though, to 2 cantrips of your choice from that class, Wizard or Warlock or Cleric, and that's going to be very, very cool. So again, if we customize this as an example, you can see all my different Wizard cantrips here. Now imagine, I can't sneak attack with this shit, which is kind of a shame, but imagine you have like a ranged problem where your character's just sucking at range, but maybe you could use like some fire to lock something down, like set something on fire. Fire barrel, for example. Boom, you got firebolt, baby. Maybe you want to make stuff slippy slide on the floor, or slow something down to give you a chance to run the fuck away, give you GTFO when the bad guys come crawling at your ass. So literally, Ray of Frost his ass and then book it. Right? So you have that, you got the True Strike, it could be appealing. And these are more important when you look at these in the frame of, are they actions, which many, if not all, are going to be. Action, action, bonus action, there's one. Action, 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 and action, and action. So the only one in this list that's a bonus action, but that's important. Why? Well, think about what this spell does. All this one really does, as far as I can tell, is it illuminates an area. That's it. That's all it does. It literally, you point, you click, poof, you get swirly lights, and that lights up an area. Now, if you've been paying attention to your attack roll, especially when you're doing ranged attacks in the dark, you'd be surprised at how bad your accuracy really is. So, it will literally tell you in a little pop-up list over here when you pick the target. It'll say 64%, let's say, and it'll say why, and it won't tell you the percentages of why, but it'll say in the dark, too far away, whatever. They have better armor than you. They're buffed, you're debuffed, whatever. You're at disadvantage, etc., and so forth. And it'll show you all that information over here. And if one of them happens to be either in the dark or shrouded in darkness, I think is what it says, then light their fucking ass up. Whether we're talking dancing lights or being in a light spell, which isn't on this list, but we could have grabbed it on, say, a cleric, I think. That's a possibility. And, in fact, actually, there is a light spell right here. So again, we have a variety of choices. This is the one light spell, in effect, that you can throw at a distance. And again, notice again, bonus action. Gotta appreciate that. Now this light spell, on the other hand, does not have, it's an action, which means you have to activate it, of course, and burn up your turn. But you can activate this before combat. It doesn't last very long, so there is a limit for how long you stay lit up. I can't tell you how long that is. It doesn't actually tell me that information here. You'd have to actually pick it and select it for your character. But again, this is a variety of things that you have access to. And again, pick your 2, and then I don't particularly care. Pick whatever you say. I'm not doing this. I'm just showing this to you. Notice here, you also, because you get a level 1 spell slot, you get to pick one level 1 spell from their entire list. And for those of you that are already planning in advance, think about what we're saying here. I have an Eldritch Knight. Okay, that's like the last guy we're going to roll up here for you. I have an Eldritch Knight. Any spell that they pick is a spell they've memorized. Okay? That includes these bastards here, or cleric spells, or whatever. And the spell level 1, spell level 2, spell level 3 pips, the dots letting you know how many uses a day of a level 1 spell you have, are cumulative. So again, if I had 3 already and I grab this feat, I can get 4. And it doesn't have to be a wizard spell list. I can go from Warlock, I can go from Cleric. And again, those level 1 spells can take from the full pool of my pips being, let's say, 4 at this point. You can see the appeal here. So I can get some really badass healing spells, or some spells that I couldn't possibly get as a wizard, but now I suddenly have them because I have Cleric Initiate, for example. And again, that's pretty baller. So this opens up a whole new world for how to build your characters. And then notice, of course, the stuff that you have in here, you're only going to get to use it once a day, unless you get your spell back in, like you say, like a clickable ability, like our wizard has the access. Remember, he's got his arcane button that he can click and get some of his level 1 or level 2 spells back in the day. That's a possibility. There's other stuff that might work for that, like a short rest might get some of them back, if not all of them. So again, that's appealing. Notice that there's some really good stuff that you have in here. So, are you going to be a ninja rogue bastard? Maybe you really aren't very good with armor on because there's no really good light armor on. Why not give yourself something like a +3 to your armor class that's always on and you're wearing nothing but fucking robes? Maybe you find some baller-ass robes in the game that are pretty damn good for even a rogue to be running around in. But again, you don't want to miss out on the armor. Well, here you go, baby. Grab yourself some goddamn mage armor. That's a +3 armor class. That shit lasts all goddamn day. Gotta love that, right? Just cast it and then you're done. Set it and forget it. That's the way I think of it. Notice that you got other ones, your jump ability, your long stride, of course, your expeditious retreat, feather fall. Notice this one's a bonus action. Matter of fact, I don't even think that's a bonus action. I think that's a reaction. That's literally you fall down a hole and it suddenly kicks in. But that's could be just an error in the tooltip. But notice again, we have actions for most of these. Here's a bonus action for Expeditious Retreat, allowing you to zip faster around. And again, for a rogue type that needs to get around the back of a bad guy to do some sneak attack loving, you can see how this could be useful. False Life, that's a nice one. We have, again, bonus action here. I believe that's wrong, though. Fog Cloud, Grease, action, 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 and action. So only a couple that have the bonus reaction or bonus action characterization in it. You know, again, so you have to be kind of picky and choosy if that's what you're shooting for, is my point. Now, I'm not going to grab this for this character. I just want to show you that that's a possibility. But what I do want to show you is all the different ones. Again, so here's Warlock. Close you out. Let's go Warlock. Show you what you get here. Again, same general principle. Notice something else, though. Your spellcasting modifier for these spells is Charisma. So I should have pointed out that the Wizard was, of course, still Intelligence. And Cleric is going to be Wisdom. So if your character is going to rely on, say, a DC check, where they have to make a save against your attack modifier, that comes from your Charisma. If we're talking a Warlock, and his Charisma straight up sucks. Notice his Wisdom's not bad. His Intelligence sucks right now at a 9. So I wouldn't want anything that's Wizard or Warlock based. I'd probably go Cleric with him. How weird is that? But again, on you, and again, there's plenty of spells in here that are buffs that have nothing to do with you having a solid Charisma or Intelligence or Wisdom. And for some reason, even with a Charisma of 10, I think I still get the access to that level 1 spell slot. I can still cast that spell, even though I don't think you're technically allowed to. You're supposed to have, from what I understand anyway, maybe it's different for 5th edition D&D, I just don't know this. But I've always understood that your casting level of your spell, your level 1, 2, all the way up to level 9 spells, you had to have your casting modifier, or your casting stat, be 10 plus the level of the spell. So if you want to cast a level 1 spell, you have to have, in this case, say a Charisma of 11, minimum. It doesn't seem to be an issue here. Now, maybe they'll take that out. Maybe that's because of early access and they just haven't figured that out, or they don't care. Maybe they've just decided, screw you, you deserve to have 1 spell, even if you suck at it, give you the spell. And again, I'm cool with that. But now look at what we have for Warlock stuff. We got Blade Ward, which we saw that before, I believe. Chill Touch, Eldritch Blast. Awesome. Friends, Mage Hand, Poison Spray, True Strike. Very similar, if not all the same, with the exception of the first certain of Eldritch Blast. That's what we saw in the Wizard. And again, you get to pick 2, so pick a couple things. And just got to go hog wild. But then, this is where it gets real fun. You get your level 1 choice. Notice we got a variety of weird shit in here, because again, this is from the Warlock's side of things. We get one that gives you temp HP, and the target takes cold damage. Now, I don't know how long this spell lasts. It says 1 up there in the little pip right about here. You'll see where it says the picture, it says 1. I think that means 1 round. And that's it. That's kind of lame, but that's what it is. Notice we have Arms of Hadar. That's a big AoE necrotic damage one that's not team friendly, but that can be fun. Notice we have Charmed Person. I should be also putting out action, 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 bonus action. This one's just a spell slot. That's going to be important in a moment. Hex, bonus action, action, and action. So again, we got a variety of choices. Again, Charmed Person, Expeditious Retreat, Hellish Rebuke. This is unique to him. This is literally a reaction, if I'm not mistaken. So again, next time you take damage, you use your reaction to surround your attacker in Hellish Flames that deal 2 to 20 fire damage. 2d10. That's freaking a lot. And of course, if they make their save, they take half damage. But you can see the appeal of this, and it's a reaction, so they're not even a bonus action or an action. So literally, they hit me, set your ass on fire for daring to hit me, you son of a bitch. You can see the appeal. Hex, again, this is the one that you set up with your Eldritch Blast. Remember, we just picked that up as a cantrip. This one literally allows you to lock on a target, do extra damage, and it doesn't appear that you have to hit them with your Eldritch Blast to do this extra damage. I thought it was. If you read the tooltip on it specifically, it says, curse a creature to deal an additional 1d6 necrotic whenever you hit it with an attack. And say what kind of an attack. So, think about this then on somebody that's, say, going to do like 2-weapon wielding, where you're stabbing and stabbing and stabbing and maybe get 2 or 3 attacks off in a combat round. Every time you attack, as far as I know, that means every time he hits, if I've set up the Hex enchantment on the bad guy, I could be doing 1d6 of extra necrotic damage per smackdown. Now, the good news is that's amazing. Of course, there's other stuff in here besides, but the bad news is I don't think this works like it does for the Warlock. The Warlock has the ability to cast this like once a goddamn day, and he seems to have Hex available for the whole flipping day, which means he just reapplies Hex. He reapplies Hex. He reapplies Hex, and I don't see that with this character. So again, that's maybe something that's a glitch, or maybe something that I'm missing out on. I'm just not paying attention. But that's a possibility. Notice, of course, protection from good and evil, Witch Bolt, again, similar stuff that we saw on the Wizard side of things, but you get the appeal here. Again, not going that route. What about our Cleric? Remember, he is a Wisdom-based person, technically. Again, a level 1 spell slot, 2 cantrips. What kind of cantrips can we get for being a Cleric? Notice we get Guidance. That's awesome. A reusable ability. Light. Awesome. Resistance. Slightly different than Guidance. Guidance is an ability increase. A bonus to your ability checks. Whereas Resistance is a bonus to your saving throw checks. Not the same thing, by the way. Notice, of course, we have the Sacred Flame ability. Notice that its attack saving throw would be a dexterity save on the bad guy's part. Notice Thaumaturgy, and this could be actually quite interesting for someone that's playing a smooth talking rogue. This is manifests a sign of supernatural power that grants you advantage on intimidation and performance checks. You can see the appeal of this one, right? So you literally are wizarding yourself up or clericing yourself up in a way that makes you look more intimidating or more persuasive or performance-based. And again, that's kind of cool. So maybe you grab that, maybe grab yourself an attack, say, okay, what do you get for a level 1 spell from a cleric? Bane, Bless, Command Halt, Create Water, Cure Wounds, of course always appreciated, Guiding Bolt, solid 46 of damage. It is an attack, I believe, and I think you need a roll. Yeah, it's a ranged attack, so you need a roll to make sure you hit. Remember, he's a good attacker, so he has to probably get a chance of making that shit land. And then notice the next part. So not only does it do 4d6 of radiant damage, it grants advantage on the next attack against that target, which again is a pretty sweet thing to fucking set up for somebody else. Healing Word, maybe you want to have another cleric type. I'm going to say a cleric, but a cleric type that can use a bonus action where he can scream out to somebody that's went down instead of having to run over and pick them up all the fucking time. Looking at you, cleric, you useless bitch. Where I can literally just go, Healing Word, and she stands the fuck back up because she just got herself 1d4 minus 1 HP. Why it's minus 1, I'm not sure. That seems weird. Oh, it'd be a plus 1. Maybe it has to do with the fact that he isn't a cleric. Notice we have Inflict Wounds. That's 3d10 necrotic damage on a melee touch attack. But again, if it's dex-based, then that's good enough for him. He's allowed to touch somebody with that. That's some solid damage. Just once, just walk over and go boop on the shoulder. That's some solid damage. We got, of course, our protection from good and evil, and of course, my personal favorite on this choice. Unlike Bless, which is I want to say a 10-round buff, Shield of Faith, I think, is one of those ones where you activate it and it's on you until you rest for the day, I believe. I don't know that off the top of my brain. But if that's true, look at what you're getting for this damn Shield of Faith. As a bonus action, plus 2 to your armor class. Again, anybody could appreciate having this on their tune. So you can see the appeal here. So I'm not going to do any of these things now. I'm not going to talk about all that for this character. I am going to go back to our Dex and our Intelligence. Am I going to? No, I'm going to swap a feat. I'm going to do something that gives us a bonus. What am I going to do? No. Skill, no. Shield Master, no. Mobile? No. Although that does sound appealing to me. Martial Adept. No. No Dual Wielder. I think I want Dual Wielder. I really do. Plus 1 armor class. Fine with me. Yes, my dexterity is not as good, so my attack bonus is not going to be as good as it would be if I got the 18 and 9 going to 10 for intelligence. So what? I'm still getting extra armor, and I'm getting to now dual wield without having to use light weapons, and I'm cool with that. Defensive Duelist was another viable option, but again, it wasn't going to give me more dexterity. Athlete could, but knocking me prone and it costs us less to stand back up seems kind of dumb. So I'm going to take Dual Wielder. Now, the other day I tried some of these, and some of these borked out on us, so there are some that glitched on you, so be careful. We have that, and before we get any further into that character, let's make sure that he has 2 weapons. So you see we have a rapier, finessable. Notice that it doesn't have another weapon slot over here, but it's a one-hander. We can slot him up with, say, Dragon's Grasp. Let's slot that right there. And that one, again, you'll notice that it's light. So that's awesome. But then maybe I want to give him something else like Steel Forged Sword. Yeah, let's put this one here. Like so. So he has a Steel Forged Sword +1 and a Dragon's Grasp, which is another unfettered fire, sets things on fire. So it's a solid screw you to the bad guys right now. And again, I kind of dig that. That's pretty damn badass. Also, we're going now to our actual Warlock. Now notice something else, actually, before I get out of here. Let's actually backpedal out of here. I want you to see something on this Warlock. Notice the number of pips that he has is 2. Okay, so again, that's 2 level 1, well, actually, any level spell slots that he had, which are up to level 2 right now. But, notice when we activate this, and if we stick with it, you see how it says we've acquired the following. He's got more HP, he's got different cantrip, which we can customize. Particular care, let's grab France, sure, why not. And then notice that we have another spell, level 2 spell, customized, but it can be any spells, of level 1 all the way up to level 2. So again, we have limited choices, right? But that's 1 cantrip and 1 spell. Now the question is that worth it? Notice, of course, we can replace a spell. And again, notice we have the ability increases again. So they have 1 in charisma, 1 in con, getting his con up to a solid number, but notice that his charisma is at a 17. That's not giving him any bonus. You see that 16 and 17 is just as good. Now, of course, that's not to say you're not going to find a piece of gear in the game that gives you a +1 to your charisma. So 17 goes to 18. You can see the appeal. But he's also going to shoot. So again, dexterity is kind of his thing. So 14 and 16, that's a solid upgrade for him. I don't mind that as a choice. But it's still one of those where it's kind of on you how you want to play this up. Do you want to swap a feat? And again, I have spells, but remember, if I went Magic Initiate for his class, Warlock, I could add 2 more cantrips. Remember, he has, let's cancel out here. He already has these ones he still has yet to pick. So I can get 2 more of these on my goddamn list. Just poof, here you go, buddy. You want more? Here's more. Gives me another spell slot, which is fucking awesome for him. And then it would also give him another level 1 spell. Now, it would not be this massive list here, but it would include the lower level 1 stuff, which would be right here. Arms of Hadar, Burning Hands, Command, Expeditious Retreat, Hellish Rebuke, Protection from Evil and Good, and Witch Bolt. So still solid choices is my point. And that frees up more choices for him. So if you've always felt like a Warlock who was kind of subpar because you just don't have very many spells to pick from, go Magic Initiate. And again, you don't have to be, I know I keep saying this, you don't have to be a Warlock, but he's got enough wisdom, and it looks like he's got enough intelligence here that he actually could make a pretty good showing for either a Cleric or a Wizard. Go Wizard, there's plenty of spells to pick from in there, and again, stuff that he didn't have access to. You could see the appeal. So again, on you how to play it. I'm just going to go here and just pick stuff. Old Person could be fun. Misty Step could be really useful. Notice this one here, Ray of Enfeeblement. I do want to show you some stuff though real quick. Watch this. So you see Ray of Enfeeblement here. Notice how it has attack/save Constitution. That means literally you shoot the target, it's going to hit. But it doesn't say an attack roll. But that does mean that the check is going to be a Constitution check. Well, what can we do with our Hex? We can lower their Constitution check. Remember that? So again, we can actually Hex them for one of their 6 abilities. So it could be a Strength penalty, a Dex penalty, a Con penalty. And it's not a penalty to their Con, their Dex, their Strength, or whatever I just mentioned. It is a penalty to their use of that as a saving throw, from what I understand. If that's the case, then if we set them up with a Hex for Con, and then hit him with this Ray of Enfeeblement as an actual spell attack, it's more likely to land and do the full Strength penalty damage to the target. So you trivialize in a fight, is my point. Same with like Shatter here. What kind of save is this one? This one doesn't even have a save. Oh, it says, yeah, it does. It says it's not a successful save. Doesn't say what kind of save it is, though. It's kind of weird. Scorching Ray. This is a ranged attack, so there's no need to Hex somebody with it. They're not going to be at a penalty if you screw up their Dex. It's not going to help at all, from what I understand. So this is just a straight up, do you hit, do you not, period. Well, that's a solid 3 different beams. You can either hit one target or multiple targets. You can do 2 on one guy, 1 on another, all 3 on one guy that really need to nail his ass down, or spread it amongst 3, just trivializing a fight by taking out all the fodder. Going from a fight of like 9 guys against 4, having it jump down to 6 guys against 4 is a lot more manageable. You see the point here. So again, kind of on you what you grab on this one. I think I do like the idea of whole person though. Yeah, no, let's do Ravenfield. Let's just do something new. I mean, this is just an early playthrough anyway. Notice, of course, we can replace spells. So you have Mirror Image we could replace. We could replace Armor of Hagathis, and that's the one I'm definitely going to replace because I don't ever use that piece of shit. Got Charm, Person, Hex. I'm cool with that. What we're going to replace for it. Instead of you, I'm going to slop in. Oh, will it let me? Oh, man, it'll even let me take a level 2. Oh, I can get that whole person if I want. That's fucking awesome. How about we grab... Yeah, let's get whole person. Confirmed. And again, for the points we have here, instead of bumping the charisma. Now again, just to reiterate, of course, I could literally floor those and double tap charisma, getting it up to an 18. This might be how his attacks land. I don't know this. I actually probably need to read the comment along on this shit. But I'm going to do 1 in Dex and 1 in Con, because again, those are odd numbers anyway. Solid upgrade for both of them. Better armor, you'll appreciate that. Better initiative, you'll appreciate that. And of course, your dexterity-based weapons, which is pretty much all you're going to give him, because his strength sucks, is going to be a bonus, at least a little. Extra Con, extra HP, you'll appreciate that as well. Not that if we didn't double tap charisma, we wouldn't have got more HP. But still a solid upgrade here. And again, I'm still happy with what we picked here. So let's take all those. Except. Now it's her turn. The Cleric. For her, notice that she's going to get 27 HP. She gets a spell slot unlocked. She gets another cantrip. Let's actually see what we have here. We have Light versus Thaumaturgy. I'm fine with Light and giving me a chance to show it to you. Prepared spells. Notice I have here Healing Word. Is there anything I want to swap out in here? Move to one disease or condition afflicting a creature. I wonder if that condition is like poison. Shield of Faith. I got my Bless. I got my Bane. Create Water. Guiding Bolt. I honestly don't use Create Water. Let's actually get rid of that and grab ourselves. No. Shield of Faith. Ooh. Yeah, I think I'm kind of cool with that. Yeah. And then they give for upgrades for her strength, which she sucks at, and again now it's at 15, so it's even just as bad. She can carry a little more, and that's basically it. And then they give her extra wisdom, which is at an odd number as well. So if you're not going to do double up on strength, which you probably should, you should at least try to double up, say, on wisdom, get it to a solid number. Dexterity straight up sucks though, so again, if you're trying to hit with your ranged attacks, this is probably one of the reasons she has a hard time hitting with some of her attacks. You do 1 to Dex and 1 to Con, and you can see you get a Dex of 10 and a Con of 14, kind of even everything out. She's not at a penalty, and that's more HP, so that'll be appreciated, but it's not amazing. She's one of the ones that I honestly would be happy to swap a feat for. But what would you swap for? She could be a Shield Master. She sucks at Dex-based stuff, though, so maybe no. Weapon Master? Nah. Moderately Armored? Nah. She got 1 point in Strength or Dex, so I can put her Dex back up to normal, I suppose. Should I do Magic Initiate? Martial Adept. Nope. You know what? We are going to go for the ability improvement. And again, I'm not going to go Wisdom, Strength. I'll do Strength twice. So she has a solid chance to swing with her weapon now. You know, the big ass spear that she has. Her Dex is going to suck, her Con's going to suck, and there's nothing I can really do about that. I could get those up, and then Strength is still subpar, and these guys are way below what they needed to be. But she is like one of the least ideal characters, in my opinion, quite frankly. But now she's done. And again, while she's here, I do want to show you that dancing light. We've been using that before. So here's our dancing lights. Well, it's actually, and that doesn't last forever, by the way. If you hover over it, I'll tell you. No, it doesn't. I was hoping it would actually tell you how long it would last. It doesn't appear to. Let's go to my character, though. And again, remember, I am an Eldritch Knight. My intelligence is already pretty good. I have my necklace, my little tiara that makes my intelligence even higher. But notice how they take that off for the purposes of showing you what your stats are before. So if you want to buff your intelligence now, 14 goes to 16 is my best case scenario here. But then again, I put the tiara back on and I jump back up to 18 again. So there's really no reason, is my point. So I'm happy taking my points, say, in the charisma and strength, getting my strength up to a solid number of 18 in the charisma. But I think they already did that. So what did they do? Yeah, they got strength up right now. And my con. So what you probably should do would either be a con, charisma, just to even them out, which is probably the worst idea ever. Con's okay, but again, where would you put the extra odd point? It doesn't matter at that point. But you really want to swing and swing hard, you double tap that strength for a nice solid 18, but we're not even going to do that. First, though, let's look at what we have here. Notice we have a bunch of HP. Here, level 4. We got a new spell, Burning Hands, or Mage Armor, or Thunder Wave, or Witch Bolt. Now, of these, I recommend an AoE, Burning Hands, or Thunder Wave. I'm going to grab Thunder Wave. Okay. Notice that we're going to swap out. Instead of taking this, we're definitely going down here. Now, the question is do we go Cleric, do we go Warlock, do we go Wizard? Notice, again, my Wizard is the only one that I have any real bonus for the intelligence. No real wisdom, no real charisma. That doesn't mean I can't grab stuff that's basically like auto hit kind of stuff. So Wizard, notice that again by doing this I actually unlock all these cantrips. Now notice I may have already have some of these cantrips on my character, but the actually that's a really good point. Let's actually back out of here and see what kind of cantrips I actually have on this character, so I don't grab duplicates because that would be, I think, wasteful. So I want to go inventory. This one? No, it's this one. Yeah, I have Ray of Frost and True Strike, and that's it. And then these guys here. Okay, so I don't want to repeat these. These ones I can't grab unless I go Cleric. But I don't want to get Magic Missile, Protection from Evil and Good, or Find Familiar again, because that would be wasteful. Alright? So, let's do this. Customize. I'm going to grab that Thunder Wave. Sounds good. Then I'm going to swap feet. And I'm going to grab me Magic Initiate Wizard. Customize. Now there's my chance to grab some offensive stuff as well as some defensive. I could get Blade Ward. Nothing wrong with this. Again, a solid buff protection, if you will, from bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, which he would appreciate being a meleeer like he is. I could get, say, Dancing Lights for the ability to light up a room, and therefore I can attack while not in the dark. I could just as easily swap that out and go grab Light Spell and activate it on myself, which makes my weapon glow. So basically the light would be centered on me. Not sure I like that better than being able to cast it at a distance. And again, I like the fact that I can shoot that out and still be kind of in the shadows. But I'm not going to take Blade Ward. I think I'll take something like Firebolt. Again, I could grab Acid Splash. I could get myself Poison Spray, Shocking Grass, hell, Chill Touches here. There's some really good stuff. Hell, Friendship is kind of really nice. You can use that, I think, in or outside of combat, where you like doing like a persuasion check kind of thing. So there's a lot of good choices in here. But again, kind of on you. And remember, because these are now available to me as cantrips, free reign, I can use them, willy-nilly anytime I really fucking want. For a spell, notice that again, I have Magic Missile. I don't need it. I got Mage Armor. I don't need that one either. What would I grab from this list? There's a lot of stuff in here to grab. We don't need Find Familiar. I don't have Grease Spell. And quite frankly, that's a solid spell. Now with that fire cantrip that I have, I slap down a Grease Spell, let the bad guys fall into that shit, I can AoE that fucker with a nice Grease Spell, and then while they're slippy sliding him with a Firebolt and then set their ass on fire. I could again go through the one that are like bonus actions, like our Expeditious Retreat. So see if there's anything in here that might be of use for that. And we found out the other day that the sleep spell is actually more useful than we originally anticipated. What do we mean by that? Remember, it says 24 hit points max that effect, but that means if the bad guy has 25 hit points, all of them, you can't affect any of them, right? No. All it means is you have to lower their health to 24 or less, and then you can start affecting them again. So if you do like some solid AoE damage, take everyone down to say like the 12 hit points each, I could cast this on a group of 2 dudes and lock up 2 guys with the sleep spell now, because it's 12 and 12 add up to 24. And that's a solid screw you. Just saying, there's some uses here. Notice, of course, our Ray of Sickness, nice poison damage, nice range on that too. And again, ranged attack, which he's not the best at, but he's okay. I do, though, like the idea of Feather Fall. I'm really curious what Disguise Self is going to be used for in this game, but I'm not going to grab it. Color Spray could be fun. So that's it, like, especially if you get mugged by like a couple guys, blinding them would be a solid screw you. I could get Burning Hands, I haven't grabbed that yet. I could get Jump. I have Magic Missile, so no need. I'm going to grab... Okay, I think I want Grease. Alright. So that's my guy.